The International Labour Organisation, based in Geneva, worked closely with the Cardiff Business School to develop labour relations solutions for the ports industry.
Ports have always and remain a sector plagued by conflict, health and safety concerns, poor productivity and decent work deficits.
So a lot of what the ILO would call decent work in terms of systems of social protection, adequate systems of training and development, a lot of those things are absent. And in those circumstances, conflicts between the parties very quickly can get out of hand and positions become really entrenched.
And the European Commission, as it always does, wants to legislate directives. And Pete persuaded them you couldn't do that in ports. You can't legislate better labor relations in ports. But what you can do is foster social dialogue.
And if you don't have a system of social dialogue, a system of negotiations that's acceptable to the parties, it creates huge hurdles for the parties to try and get over, especially if there are job losses involved.
On a global level, the team researched why it was that some ports had far fewer strikes than others.
What we found was that there were some marked differences in how ports went about resolving conflicts and whether or not the parties trusted the systems of arbitration, for example, whether governments were involved in these processes, whether when there was a dispute, whether trade union reps actually attended disputes in the port, whether employer reps attended. So there was a system of good practice that emerged from these examples around the world.
Professor Turnbull produced a draft document, Guidelines on Training in the Port Sector, overseen by an international working group of experts that was discussed and approved by government, employer and workers' representatives, indicating its high level of expertise in the sector. The guidelines have since been published in 3 languages and are now being promoted by the ILO in improving training of dock workers and health and safety concerns.
We've also adapted this model as well for other sectors, so we've had projects with road transport workers in new member states of the European Union, and we've also done this through the International Labour Organisation for other areas of the public sector as well.
We, the ILO, developed a much closer relationship with the European Commission, and that led to collaboration in many different fields beyond that I supervise.
Training not only improves safety in ports and therefore reduces accidents and deaths, which is a clear win for workers, but also for employers as well in terms of improving efficiency. And of course you get fewer disputes, and disputes can be very, very costly for ports. If you close down a major port, you can cost you millions and millions of pounds a day.
Professor Turnbull's capacity as a researcher and academic has greatly aided the ILO's work in the port sector towards the realization of decent work for all, and his impact has been well received among ILO constituents.
It was enormously successful and in fact did lead to much closer collaboration with the European Commission across the whole spectrum of workplace issues that the ILO covered.